Cyrus, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, guys. Cyrus here. Well, as she has said, I run the channel to Randoms. Basically, that's a platform where I share my riding experiences. It's supposed to be fun, but sometimes, due to the nature of our roads, you can see the kind of content I have shared over time. It's unfortunate state, and I'm hoping we can learn a thing or two from the experiences I have encountered and shared with you guys.
Nice. So, like I said, interactive session, and just before Cyrus unmutes himself, I'll let him be the first person to talk to us about, to introduce the topic and just talk to us about what he understands by situational awareness and situations and times where he has found himself having to apply or survive because, okay, not survive, but had a better day than it was gonna be because he reacted well. Like he was able to observe, perceive the situation, and adjust accordingly.
Okay, so my understanding of situational awareness is basically having a general understanding of what's happening around you. If you have to look at it technically, based on maybe the images you had shared on your platform, you can see the first element is perception. That is knowing the elements and the things around you while you're riding on the road. That means you have to be present always, because if you are zoned out, I believe you have no business riding on our roads. So you have to be present, and beyond that, you have to understand the meaning of the elements around you. Which threat or danger do they potentially pose to you as a rider? Now, secondly, after identifying and understanding those elements, you need to be able to project where they will be, or rather anticipate what they might do to you, or rather the threat they are going to pose to you. Then finally, is reaction. After identifying and anticipating the dangers, then you should be able to react in good time. And reaction, this is where, if you combine good self-awareness and the proper skills, you'll be able to avoid that particular danger. And if that situation is handled properly, it becomes a non-issue at all. It's actually, you'll proceed with your ride like nothing happened. But if you're not well prepared, it becomes a disaster, even if you have the right skills. So another way of looking at self-awareness, I like to see it as you giving yourself the best chance to allow, or rather giving your skills the best chance to save your day. And yeah, just proceed with your ride like nothing ever happened. So if I may go ahead and point out on maybe refer to the video which you're talking about. That was the video that gave my channel a lot of popularity. I wish it was on a different circumstances, but it is what it is.
That is what moved you from an underground artist.
Imagine, that's how I surfaced into this limelight. So a lot happened on that particular video. It's a lot to unpack, but there are basically, if you look at the dangers which I was coming across, these were vehicles which were overtaking, disregarding my presence on the road. Now, that is a threat which we normally face as bikers on the road, especially on our highways. So understanding the situation which you are at and the dangers which are which are posed to you is important, because if you're riding down the street, your frame of mind will be completely different as compared to riding on the highway. I think that is one key element in situational awareness, knowing the things to look out for. Because if you don't know what you're looking out for, then you end up being a paranoid person on the road, because you'll think everybody is going to pose threat to you. Also, another way of looking at it, if you might be present and very zoned in while you're riding, but your focus is on the wrong things. And if your focus is on the wrong things, then you're simply a distracted person on the road, because the things which you'd be looking out for will go unnoticed. So be present, but also pay your attention on the right things.
What are these wrong things? Sorry to interject. What are these wrong things?
Wrong things. These are usually the flashy things. Like you might be paying too much attention to a nice car. Guys are
nice car owner.
Guys are exactly. They don't even necessarily have to be car owners.
I am guilty of that, so that's why I asked.
You're forgiven. So looking out for the right things is very key. And best way I can put this is understanding, let's say, as you're riding on the highway, which was my case. Well, it's not a highway per se, but it's not in the street, and neither is it in the estate. Those cars which were overtaking, rather closing to my lane to overtake, that didn't catch me by surprise per se. It's a sad reality, but on our Kenya roads, it happens way too often that we as riders, that doesn't catch us by surprise. And even if that material is shared on our platforms, guys are so desensitized to it that it doesn't really catch us by surprise. So, but if you were to go back to that video, there was one which, in all honesty, caught me by surprise. The lorry came to my lane with almost zero room for reaction. Yes, I was anticipating a car might come to my lane, but not that soon, or rather, not in that manner. But the fact that I had that in mind, there's a possibility of a car coming to my lane, I was ready to go for my evasive maneuver. And in this case, normally you would just slow down, take your safe spot on the road, and just let the car overtake. For some might choose to carry something with themselves to react, but I think ideally most of us will just step on the side, allow the car to pass. But in this case, I didn't have that time to prep myself, to pick my safe spot. So I literally had to jump, or rather swerve off the road to gravel, which I was lucky enough not to crash. So, but in all honesty, if I didn't have the mentality or the anticipation, somebody might, come to my lane, I think I would not have pulled that maneuver the way I did. So being present and anticipating is very, very key. But most importantly, I cannot emphasize enough, looking out for the right things.
Yes, thank you so much, Cyrus, for emphasizing that we need to be looking out for the right things so that we can anticipate what these right things might do, and have a quick and executable reaction time. Yes. I think Wamwe has also pointed out some of the other things that are likely to distract people other than nice car owners and nice cars is nature. We have a very beautiful country, and you can easily be, taking in the sights and forget you're actually on the road. So let's like glance and,
Yeah,
keep.
if I may cut you short on that, to emphasize on nature, the Mai Mahiu Limuru Road is actually very scenic. Very scenic. And it was sad because as much as I was trying to enjoy the scenes, I also knew at the back of my mind, this road does not give me such luxury. So it's very unfortunate, but I totally agree with Amoyo on the nature part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us on YouTube and here. Maybe you can just drop in the comment section your channel for those who are not aware, and so that they can see these quick maneuvers you've spoken about and know how to handle themselves in the future if they are in such a situation. I don't think we have any questions at this moment other than Wamuyu's comments and the guys who are keeping in the bet coming for Monyanya singing at the end of this webinar. So for those who just joined us, Monyanya will be singing at the end of the webinar. There is a running bet of 500 shillings.
Yeah, we are
Please
making donations
to that kitty. Let us add pressure. And if you have any questions for Cyrus, please also drop them in the comment. We'll try and cover all of them as we run along. I would now like to bring Wanjiku in to share her experience with us. As she likes to call herself a new rider, but I don't agree with that term. But yes, just tell us your understanding of today's topic and how you've been able to apply this in your new riding experience so far.
Thank you, Pili. I hope I'm clear.
Very.
Okay, thank you so much. My understanding, I'm still going to say new. I'm not saying newbie, new. It's been an off and on thing, but it's been an amazing journey, and I'm still enjoying it. So for me, my understanding of the topic today is about understanding your situation, both yourself and the environment that you're riding or driving around. And for me, I'll probably just give more of my experiences, my short experiences in the 8-9 months that I've been riding, and how it's been for me. Some of the things I faced, some of the mistakes I have made, and what this what this has helped me to learn. And I know sometimes mistakes help us learn, so I think they help us to improve on our skills and everything that we do. So for me, situational awareness first starts with how I'm feeling. I could wake up feeling like I'm scared, I don't want to ride, I can't be on the road. So if I'm okay and I feel like that I'm ready to go on the road and meet all these people and drivers, boda people, other bikers, then I get on the bike with my gear, full gear all the time. We say you have to have it. Most important thing is that I plan my route always. I figure out if it's going to work, which route am I going to use? That route, what does it have? Does it have tracks? Does it have people who race on the road? I figure out which route specifically that I'm going to use. And sometimes I end up using one route. So to work, I have a route that I use, so I can tell you where the potholes are, I know where the bumps are, because I have understood that route very well. If I have to really use a new route, then I'm very careful, or I'm careful with my speed and how I'm riding and not being distracted. So those are some of the factors that I look at. So anytime I'm riding, whether it's a short distance or a long distance, I plan my routes. The other thing that I've learned from maybe just missing out, especially on these big Githurai buses, always on the roundabouts, is my side mirrors. So most times as I'm joining the highway, the buses are always very fast. So I try to make sure that I know who is behind me, who is in front, because Malibu, who was our trainer, always used to say, look wide, look wide, look wide. And sometimes in my helmet, I'm just like, look wide, look wide. So what's ahead of you? What's going on? the farthest that you can see. So I'm able to anticipate, is someone joining? Is someone joining from the left? So I know, so that if someone ahead of me stops, I'm not careless to just overtake them because I don't know why they've stopped. So those are some of the factors that I'm learning to just check so that you don't end up, you find sometimes someone is exiting a junction. So you think the person in front of you is just slowing down. So you try to overtake and you end up ramming into each other. So side mirrors for me is who is in front of me, who is ahead of me, who is on my side. I try, it's hard, it's not an easy balance, but I'm trying to, and I've learned how to try and figure out, so that do that, that shoulder check that you can check, because sometimes you can't see who is very close to you. So just a short one, just to see, is there someone before I can be able to change the lane. Also, in terms of animals and people, uh, I'm very scared of crossing Kenyan roads, even if it's a zebra crossing. So with that in my mind, anytime I'm approaching a zebra crossing, I don't assume that people will stop or I should stop. I always stop. I slow down every time I'm coming to a zebra crossing. I try to be because I've been there and I know how it feels when you're on a zebra crossing and the vehicles are just coming, approaching and assuming that you're not, they're not there. So when I get to a zebra crossing, from my experience as a road user, I slow down. There could be anyone crossing. You don't know, people, especially with mental health cases right now, people in different zones. So you could think that person, huyu mtu amevuka barabara aje, and they probably are not even in that moment. So from that experience, as a road user, as a person who has been a passenger crossing roads and people just coming in and you don't know what to do, I try to slow down and I always let people pass. I rode once with a guy in Nyeri and he said he's never ridden that safely because I'm very, very careful. I'm not very, very 100, but I try to be careful when I'm on the road. Animals, I think for me, are the scariest thing, because at least a human being, you can think, mi ningefanya nini, or what would I do? But an animal will get, I've seen an animal gets into the road, inafika katikati, and I decide, oh, let me sit down or let me stand back. So whenever I see animals, I'm very careful, like speed, just slow down. Like the Magadi Road, has a lot of animals, especially cows. So yeah, you have, if you understand the road, sometimes even just asking people who have used that route before how it's like, and what are the experiences, helps you to know when you're using that road what you'll experience. Like recently, I think Friday, I'm riding back, and I'm a Moranga person. I like using Moranga routes always because the vehicles are few. It's not like the Kambiti route. So I get somewhere past Sagana, and everybody is getting back from holiday, the short holiday that we had. And this guy decides he's going to overtake with a lorry, and this was my first experience, and I didn't know what to do because he's on high speed, he's coming down. I can tell I don't have a way to escape, either to my left or to my right, because on my right there are all these vehicles in traffic. So from a distance, I felt like he would not respect me as a road user. So what I did, I just slowed down. The road didn't have, how roads have like a kakando place where you can swerve. I don't know how highways have, this road did have, and the road is high and the ground is down. So I had to take the bike like on a staircase, and it's something I had never experienced before. But what I learned from that experience for me was, you don't have to fight, and being on the road on a bike has taught me a lot of patience, and sometimes just not being arrogant and just looking at, am I going to be safe? So I just swerved off the road. It was a bit high and I felt like I would roll or something, but I sat down for around 20 minutes on the grass, just thinking, how am I going to get back on the road? So I was like, I have to
you
take a
called
few minutes
yourself to a meeting.
yeah, just to make sure that I'm okay, because getting back on the road after that, I'll either get back angry or scared or not able to ride again, or not in the right senses. So for me, that's another thing. It's okay to stop. It's okay to take a break. Breaks are important. So plan your trips so that you're able to understand situations, because if you're not okay, then you can't be able to know what's happening around you. So for me, those are some of the main things I can talk about. How you feeling, planning your routes, understanding the road you're using, talk to other people and see what happens on that road. Like the Maimario route, as you've seen in videos, tracks, people, nobody respects the road. It's just crazy. With Mombasa Road and what's happening with traffic, all these things that are happening. So it's good to know the situations, and they are just from the basics. They could be who is on the right, who is overtaking you. If someone wants to race with you, just let them pass. And patience is good. Kenyan roads are tough, but we can figure out how to just go through them with a lot of just respect other people on the road, value other people on the road. Don't if you feel someone is being too arrogant, just sometimes I just tell people I'll slow down and just ask you to pass, because it could eventually end up into an incident. Yeah, so that has been my short experience so far in terms of situations and how I've managed to handle the few that I've been able to face. Yes, thank you.
Before I let you go, since it's still kind of fresh in your mind, how would you say, or what are some of the things that you find yourself doing now with the experience you've had that as a for real new rider you weren't doing, just in light of this topic, just briefly?
Okay. Number one is keeping up with the traffic speed. Vehicles going at 80 or 100. That was because I could be the risk to the road users, because if everybody is moving at 80, 100, and I'm moving at 40, 20 or whatever, then I'm at risk. So I've learned how to balance that and be able to tell what speed should I be able to balance at, and that everybody is on the road, so that I'm not a risk to other road users. That's one thing. Number two, I'm still working on it, is my left side mirror. Especially on the roundabouts, whenever I'm the one, when you take it, if you're right-handed and you're taking the right turn, this left one, somehow, for me, I don't know if it happens to everybody else. I'd really like to know, but every time I'm on the roundabout, especially Risambu, there's always this bus that I just see here from my left, because I'm focusing on how I'm taking the roundabout. So sometimes I'm not able to check on the left side mirror, and I'm still working on that, so that I can just make sure that, but at least I'm learning what is it that I do wrong and I need to work on, what is right and I need to just keep doing. But the more I ride, the better I'm becoming at it. Yes.
Nice. And now that you mentioned mirrors when taking the roundabout turns, I think at the back of my mind, I know that I should give way to the person on the right, and I expect the person who's on my left will give me way because I'm on the right in the roundabout. So the moment I end up, I like join a roundabout, I expect for them to let me through. But yes, you'll find a real warrior just joining, and so sometimes the attention is not on this side as we are learning it should be. So yeah, that's a good thing that you brought up, and thank you for sharing your experience. I think there was someone in the comments asking about where we did training on this, if I'm not wrong. Monyanya has already responded to that. And the thing about animals is when one crosses, you see one sheep has crossed, just know the rest will follow. So just chill and maybe take in that beautiful scenery. And it's always a process of subconsciously checking what is changing around you, because things change in the split of a second. So it doesn't take saying we need to be aware of the situation around us or what is surrounding us while we're on the road. Doesn't need to be an active, like you're exerting all your energy to it, you're not even enjoying the ride. It's something you can do subconsciously and still enjoy your ride, and it gets better with time, at least for me. So thank you so much for sharing your experience. I see some questions on the comment. I will circle back on that. I feel like this is a good time to introduce Owour, who is also four-wheeled. I think he's the driver who is on the call today. So Other than that, just taking us through what he does, which is championing road safety in his own right, being a certified safety trainer. Maybe he will also shed light on why sometimes our caged brothers do not see us, or they just assume we are not there. Are we invincible? Is that a superpower we have that we don't know of? So yeah, take it away.
I want to start by saying that no matter what you ride, no matter how you ride it, I believe you can always do it better. Pili Ndogo,
Why?
which one do you ride?
We are the starter pack chicks with the J200s and the tutu skirts and the ponytails. So I drive, I ride.
This one I keep private. Owour is a seasoned motorcycle rider.
What? Say what?
Who has ever heard of an Indian scout?
Wamuyu.
You guys look at what an Indian scout is. It's a very beautiful, I always call her girl in quotes. And I do it privately. And when I'm doing it, I'll not put on this branded jacket because I always want, I see somebody saying, oh my God, you always ride an Indian scout.
Yeah.
It used to be the ramble.
Jackie is like this.
I love it. So when I am coming out to speak, I am coming out to speak not just as a seasoned trainer or seasoned driver. The other day I was telling some people on TV 47, the audience, that it took me 3 years to get a driver's license. And it was like, were you that damn in class for you to take that long? And it was beautiful for me because I got an opportunity to tell this person for 3 different seasons I was learning, and there are things that I caught. There are things that I caught that will save my life forever. And that is why when I come to speak about road safety, it's very much different. So our new rider, let me call her new, I love that name, new rider, has just talked about something here that is very vital. She has talked of feeling. If she wakes up feeling like not riding, she normally has an argument. She calls her committee and they have a meeting and then see what to do next. So what is situational awareness? This is just a basic intelligence on knowing what is happening around you on the road. I have a clean record of 18 years of driving, accident, incident free. Just a month ago, I experienced my first incident with a rider. So this is in my training, this is how I normally put it. We have people who I call passionate riders. These are people who are not riding for income generation skills. They are just there because it is their passion. Passion pushes them. And then there is a group that I call the economic riders. Most of us call them the border riders. My first incident with this guy was an economic rider. So I'm at a junction. I have stopped until it is clear because priority will belong to anybody, be it a motorcyclist, be it as a motorist, be it a tricyclist or tuk-tuk driver from the right. So I was waiting for the road to clear. Then it had rained on that morning. So the motor rider guy comes and then there's another motorcycle rider. They're all economic, border. And one is on the wrong side and the other one is keeping left as normal. And then they realize they would collide. And then one of them decides to brake and then he hydroplanes. You know, most riders in the economic side have done away with their front brakes. I don't know why. So they're only left with the braking behind. And whoever taught me how to ride is called Afande Stonik. He taught me that when I am braking, I have to apply 30% pressure on the front brakes and 70 on the rear brakes. So this guy, I think he had done out with his front brakes. So when he braked hard, he hydroplaned, missed the first car, and came directly to my right-hand side indicator. And it was gone. So the police was there. Everybody was like, let him pay, let him pay. And then I just came out and told him, my son, are you hurt? And he was in panic mode because he hit the car. I felt the impact. So I just wanted to know if he was okay, so I can work on how to take him to an hospital. He said he was okay. Then I told him, you go. And it's like, do I just go? And I said, yes, you go. In my mind, it was like, he didn't intend to do such a thing. Possibly, he was not aware of the situation around him, that the roads were wet and hydroplaning was very, very much a possibility leading into such. That is beyond human control. So I left him to go. Situational awareness can be defined as elements, as Cyrus said, in the environment within a volume of time and space. I was speaking to someone earlier today and I was telling her, motorcycle riding requires a very short loop. If you know what a loop is, a short play that repeats itself very constantly. Because once you are on a motorcycle, you are a distraction to everybody else on the road. Because once they see you on your bike, they start to juggle many things in the mind. Why did this person decide to buy this motorcycle? Look at the engine. How much cc can this one be? So you find that a lot of questions go in the mind of other people around you. Oh my God, and she's a lady. Oh, how? Where did she train? Where did all this thing? When you rumble your bike and it gives that exotic, nostalgic, epic sound, everybody's like, wow. So when you are on your bike, you are a distraction to other people. In that volume and space, you are a potential hazard to yourself, number one, and to everyone around you. Because someone will forget to stop or to slow down or to brake because of how your helmet is. It looks like Iron Man. Some are looking like Batman. So this is what I always say. A righteous person will always attract everybody, whether righteous or wicked. He attracts everybody. So when you are on your bike, and I categorize you on the side of passionate riders, probably it's all about your jacket. And it's like, wow, this jacket is amazing. I am a rider, I am a driver. This happens to me when I'm in traffic jam and I look at the side mirror and I see a bike coming, or I hear a rumble, a vibration, and I'm like, oh my goodness, boy, I'm also riding an Indian Scout. I'm speaking to myself, and for that moment, I am already distracted. Gone completely.
True.
I am on the highway. A biker just decides to overtake, and it's just that attraction of the rumble. My friend, my speedometer is 240. I just want to move so close to you to get to record you on my dashboard camera, so that when I share it on my YouTube channel, I just tell people, look at the bike. But you see, emotions. Wanjiku might not talk about feelings. emotions. I'm already excited. I'm not myself. I've lost to realize that I'm now supposed to be a responsible, tasked person on the wheel or on the bike. And it comes worse when it's a lady, because when you overtake, we have to tell you cannot overtake us. So this is a very vital fact, because you realize the motorbikes are fast. For some time, I have a military background, so I will use this example. For some time, the canines were not used in the military. They are now being used because of an ability that man doesn't have. For some time, motorbikes were never part of military, but nowadays they are. Soldiers were sent to cross deserts on foot, on camouflage. Nowadays, they are sent on motorbikes. A sniper would be sent on a motorbike. And because when the worst gets the worst, the motorbike will help this person tackle any terrain to escape fast. When I was in Jordan last year, but one to train on motorcycling, I realized Jordan only have 500 registered bikes. And still, with the 500 registered, they had registered 427 deaths from motorcycles. Then I realized, there is a problem. So you come to realize that, number one, our roads are crowded, very much crowded. Two, the training institutions are more of monetized rather than giving you the knowledge, rather than training you on the vital parts. Situational awareness has only been allowed to be a talk in the aviation industry, where pilots undergo series of trainings, what the radar cannot see, like when you are coming from certain altitudes, you're coming to lower altitudes where we have certain flights, PC-212, where we have the Cessnas, where we have small aircrafts, you are urged to know the awareness of your surrounding. But times have changed. Our roads are now crowded. Like the other day, we were arguing on Facebook with many people. When I told them, if you rear ram another vehicle, you will be charged. That is the day you meet a rule that is so much impracticable. Keep 70 meters between you and the next car. How? But that day they will charge you with that. And then somebody says, you rear-ram a bus. And I'm telling them, yeah, it has chevrons behind there. Do you know those chevrons, why they are red and not yellow? In construction, they use yellow to warn you of the danger on the ground. On buses and pickups, we have red chevrons. Chevrons are those small square-like shaped, and it is a strip of white and red. It is white to tell you, cease your speed. The stripe on it again is red to tell you there is impending danger. And then you go and rear up. You realize that most bikers, we put on the helmet. And the helmet limits what we call the peripheral view. Like when you don't have an helmet and you look right now at your gadget, be it the laptop, be it the phone, you are still able to see a few things besides the camera you are using. So the peripheral view of a normal person allows you to probably see 180 degrees. If something passes, you can see. But when you are on a helmet, your peripheral view is a bit narrowed. So this is now me on the helmet. Things that are coming from here, I cannot be able to see very well. And then Remember, I said you're a distraction. So someone is going to move closer to you, but your peripheral view has been altered with. Now you realize how much more as a motorcycle rider you need to understand and make the loop of your awareness more fast, more stringent, more tight. Why is situational awareness important? It is important because it allows you to communicate with yourself. It allows you to talk to your own self and understand the danger that you pose to others, but first, the danger you pose to yourself or the danger other people pose to you. It's sad that in my country, Kenya, success is rated by what you own. If you're walking on foot, the pedestrian walkway, which is called the zebra crossing, is your priority and safest place to cross. But a cyclist will come and run over you. A motorcyclist will come and run over you. A motorist will not even give you way. Then the ladder goes up to a cyclist. Then it goes to a motorcyclist, and then to the motorist. As a motorcycle rider, maturity is very key. Maturity is very key. This I do when I am driving the Scout. When I'm riding the Scout, I think I'm the most patient human being on the face of the earth because I know I have the gear. I am well protected. But I am still the cover body of the metallic piece that I sit to ride on. I see in many groups of motorcycle riding when people are discussing and having a talk, and it's like, when I am in this jacket, it's reflective, so you have to see me. We are going under hard times. The lockdown has been here. People have lost jobs. Mental health is eating up the society. Probably 80% of Kenyan population are having a problem with their mental health. Their judgment is retarded. And this poses a lot of danger to all road users. We have 3 levels of situational awareness. Cyrus mentioned most of them. The first one is to perceive. I'm on a bike. I'm headed to Nakuru. Maina Wanjiku mentioned route planning, which is very, very vital. The reason why we are having many crashes or rare ramps on the southern bypass, you don't find riders rare ramming because probably somebody reasoned and told me their sudden swerve is smooth. They can easily sudden swerve. But motorists cannot sudden swerve. No, they just don't have intelligence on the roads they want to use. The southern bypass was built for trucks. It's not a racing. It's not a racing track. So you find that the young generation, the people are gifted financially differently. Some people are gifted with their first cars from their parents. They have no much responsibility on it. So when they hit the southern bypass, speed, guys, let's go.
Yeah.
But there is something I call command. On every instrument you use, the command you give has a response. You command the vehicle move at 80 kilometers per hour, then you also be ready to expect the dangers of 80 kilometers per hour. So the first level of situational awareness is perception. What do you see? That is a bump. Is it a speed bump? Is it a loop bump? What is my reaction? But remember, it changes very, very, very fast. So whatever you see, the second step is comprehension. What you see, how fast are you able to comprehend and then project? Number 3 is projection. How fast are you able to see, to comprehend, to analyze, and work on it, to execute? So I came up with something that has helped me in driving. So somebody would ask me, in these 15 years, how come you have a clean record? I observe. If you are writing, write I observe, I orient, I decide, and I act. So I call it the OODA process. But then I don't do it once. I do it twice. I keep on repeating it, so it becomes a loop. I observe, I orient, I decide, and then act. There are things that my acting tells me, drive through. I drive through. There are things that my decision tells me, you need to slow down. I act by slowing down. There are things that my mind tells me, you have to stop. And I have to stop. And because of being a defensive driver, I drive 2 vehicles ahead of me, 2 vehicles behind me, and the one that I am in. When I am riding, I choose where to ride. I see most riders riding far left. I prefer to be at the center front of your car, so that in the event of anything coming from the left, I can move to the right. Anything coming from the right, I can slightly move to the left and find a way of playing with it tactically.
Thank you so much.
Situational awareness will help you overcome your blind spots. Blind spots is a talk for another day. Situational awareness will come to help you, especially at cornering, because you would be going into an open bend, you would be going into a tight bend, you would be going into a blind bend. Much still needs to be given. Allow me stop there because of time and hand it back over to the host. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Owour. You mentioned the OODA loop. That's a nice summary of how we should subconsciously, and I want to reiterate, subconsciously be doing these checks while on the road. Maybe if you could just jot it down on the comment section so that everybody else who didn't write it down as you had instructed can, have a moment to take that in. And also thank you for mentioning about our blind spots. This varies from person to person, and some are external, like some roads, there's some sections you won't see no matter how good your vision is or how far ahead you can look, and some are, like Wanjiku mentioned, maybe just out of habit, you kind of tend to forget to check one of your side mirrors. So thank you so much for bringing that into the conversation. See a lot of comments about how some of the topics that we are covering in this session are helping a lot. Cyrus says he has a final point. I'll give him just a minute, and I'm serious about this minute to, say that.
Okay, thank you, Bev. Now, I feel like there is an important issue, or rather something which can help you to identify, because I feel part of being aware is identifying the issues on the road, or rather the potential hazards on the road. And one way and very easy way of doing this, it's identifying anomalies or other unusual objects on the road. So by this, I mean, let's say you are riding down the road. All cars are going the same direction. And then maybe on the opposite lane, you have cars going on the opposite direction. But then all of a sudden, you see the side of a car. That is an unusual element. So probably the car is planning on merging the road, or maybe there's an issue with the car. So the moment you identify a potential anomaly on the road, that should be that should be something to put you in the let's say yellow state. That is where you are about to jump into action, maybe swerve or do something else. Yes, I see somebody mentioned the DFM crew in the house. That is, I would recommend everybody to check out that YouTube channel. It's called Dan the Fireman.
Dan the Fireman.
Yes. Every rider, beginner or even experienced, tafadhali.
True,
make sure you check it out. It's very crucial. Then our last point is avoid hyperfocus. If you happen to identify a potential hazard on the road, please do not dwell too much on it. Take the proper action. If at all you need to swerve, maybe roll off the throttle, take the necessary action, but go back to scanning for other potential hazards. So do not be stagnated on that one issue. So as Owour said, it's a loop where it's continuous, it never ends. But once you do it over and over again, practice it, you practice it consciously. It's a deliberate action, and eventually it's going to become subconscious, and you will enjoy the ride when you're on the safe side. Yeah, so I think that's it from me.
Thank you so much. You seem to be having so many points that are coming right now on this topic. So feel free to drop your comments in the chat box. No, drop your contacts in the chat box and a link to your YouTube channel where people can follow you and get to see how you execute. Are you really practicing what you're preaching over here or nah? Same for Owour. If anybody wants to reach out to you on defensive riding, driving, and maybe just have follow-up questions on the topic of today and the very, very nice and educative points that you shared with us, please let them know in the chat box how they can reach you, whether via email, phone. Feel free to share the contacts as you please. Wanjiku, same. Let the people know how they can reach you, but strictly for situational awareness questions. I have been your lovely host, and we've really, really tried to keep it within the allotted hour slot. Thank you all for your comments that have been coming through. Lucy and Michelle have been taking them up as they come. And we have been recording. So for those who joined halfway, next, you can catch up on what you missed on YouTube when this session goes up live. Also catch up with us on Twitter. Our social media manager, Monyenye, has been sharing the very pertinent points that we've been discussing. So feel free to check us out there. And like we promised, we are ending with a bang. That is going to be a musical number in the musical stylings of Monyenye to wrap up this session. I believe there's a bet going on whether she'll sing or not. So let's see. Yay!
Thanks, Pili Ndogo. I'm requesting everyone to switch on their microphone and join me in singing One Love. And then we can, and then Michelle, please.
In what key?
We are ready. Whichever key you choose.
Michelle, I'm only paying if you're singing alone.
Exactly. Are we sharing the money? Let's start with.
One love.
Hallelujah.
One love. Let
Get together and feel
All
Right.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
It's 100 bob for Munyenye.
Please put your videos so that we know who we were with tonight. Yeah,
Bye.
Havana. Oh, nice. Mukwe mumeva nguo please. Oh,
But Munyenye from the Rasta Sisters, jobless, jobless, jobless.
Amanda and the Angel. Naona uko na mixologist in the background.
Kakonyagi is
Yeah?
Kakonyagi in the background.
Can I say something? Someone is asking me to join the
Take your
gentleman's
homie.
ride on Sunday.
Yes, I did ask that a word.
Unfortunately, on Sunday, I am leaving Nairobi for Mombasa. I have a 1-week training with the Addict Truck Company. So I might not be able, but I will always try.
Is the bike
Appreciate
going with
it.
you to Mombasa?
No, I'm going
bike is what
with
is
this
needed.
one.
Pili.
I said
going
Mombasa
with
as if
this
you're going
one
to
here.
Mumbai.
Calm down.
You're asking for a friend. It's okay.
Owour, I'm sure the gentlemen will reach out and you can discuss how to get into the gentleman's circle. But thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, let's keep the conversation going on our social medias. And this was very awesome of you guys to join. See you on the next webinar. And let's practice what we have learned today in the coming days. Let's be the same and better road users when we're out there. Love and light. Bye.